You're listening to Bizarre Buffet, a podcast of all you can eat weird. I'm your host, Mark Torriello.
I'm Jen Wilson.
And I'm Mark Bluestein.
There'll be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited.
When we first went in, one of the people said, "Who are you?" And Tex said, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business."
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this very summertime edition of Bizarre Buffet.
As Mark is looking right into the iPad, since we're trying something new tonight, we are actually video recording this as we speak.
These gams, baby.
Now, this is our first time actually doing something like video.
Yeah.
With
Patreon content.
doing our thing.
Also, we're going to have a date with Jen Wilson.
We are, listen.
Let me show off my shoes.
Show them off, yeah.
Oh, you can't even see them.
So, Win a Date with Jen Wilson is like, I mean, think of top tier of Patreon and think of like even above and beyond top tier. That is serious business.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a package up.
I'm taking applications, so.
She is. You know, the prerequisites are don't be a terrible person, number one.
Don't be addicted to drugs, number 2.
Number 2, most importantly, number 2 is more important.
Have a job, number 3.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to be, I don't know, an astrophysicist, but if you are, that's okay as well.
Don't have crippling debt, number 4.
Absolutely. Don't have a credit score in the low 100s.
And have a college degree and
Of some kind.
something,
Yeah.
just something.
Absolutely.
I'm like serial killers.
Yes, that's fine with me too.
I'm just so obsessed with this little setup.
I know Mark just keeps looking at the iPad like,
You
look
got
at me.
I know. I'm like, wow. I'm like, do I look that cute in person?
Just
You
imagine
do.
Mark
Thank
speaking, and then looking at the camera as he's speaking right
Now
now.
that I have all of you.
It's awkward. I'm going to be like this the whole time, like shaking my head.
Right?
This
Okay.
is a room full of people who think that we're all also very cute, so we admire our own cuteness here.
Yeah, we love ourselves.
We do, but that's important. It is. Don't love yourself too much, but enough.
Enough.
That's the key component. Anyway, what are we doing, Mike?
Well, do you guys know what the topic is today?
No, I don't.
I do.
Mark, I think Mark
Actually,
does.
no, I do.
Okay.
I do. I lied.
Okay. All right, cool. So,
I lied.
before we dive into our topic today, I just want to ask you guys, what do you think the number one most deadly animal is in existence?
Shih Tzus.
Yeah, our Shih Tzu is most definitely.
Yeah, you can probably hear them jingle jangling right now.
I would probably say a shark.
You would say sharks?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
None of the above.
No.
The number one most deadly animal in existence are mosquitoes.
Why?
Why?
I guess because they spread disease,
West Nile virus.
I love the West Nile.
malaria,
Oh, malaria. Isn't
And-
she married to Trump?
malaria, Trump.
Malaria Trump. That's next.
So mosquitoes kill 1 million people per year.
What?
Isn't
I
that,
don't
isn't that
believe
crazy
that.
town?
Full of crazy town.
No, they do.
1 million?
1 million people a year die from
Did
mosquitoes.
you fact check that?
No.
Wow. 1 million people die. You don't need to
I
know.
internet checked it, but I can believe it because if you think about like maybe countries that don't have different vaccines or healthcare and
Or those anti-vaxxers out there. Hey.
Hey, anti-vaxxers, thanks for fucking it all up for everyone who did get vaccinated.
get
You
bit in
fucking
the eyes.
Yeah, bit in the eyes.
By a
you fuck.
mosquito.
By
So-
a goddamn mosquito. You fucking
but
so distracted.
aside from that, mosquitoes are the most deadly animal, and I'll tell you the top 5. So it's mosquitoes. Number 2 is humans.
Oh, yeah. That makes
For
sense.
Yeah.
humans on average,
Like, as in, like, Jeffrey Dahmer eating his victims, or, like,
Yes.
actually, like,
I suppose that's
murdering with a weapon?
murder and
probably
war.
all of the above, I would
Okay,
imagine.
okay.
And so humans on average, there's 475,000 homicides per year.
What the fuck?
And the
It's a lot
third,
of killing.
it's a lot of killings. And the third one is snakes. at 50,000 fatalities per year.
Snakes.
I don't like them.
I despise them.
I have the biggest fucking phobia of them. Can't see them. Can't be under the same roof as them.
Yeah.
None of it.
Who would want that?
Number 4 are dogs, and they kill 25,000 people per year.
Well, yeah, I could see that.
I believe it.
Yeah, if they bite and break skin and then it gets infected.
Yeah.
Or if they like get like an artery or something. I think you could die that way.
Yeah.
And then getting at the finale, freshwater snails kill 10,000 people per year.
Freshwater snails. How does that
I don't even
happen?
know what the hell a freshwater snail
Are those
is.
like the I don't know.
It's like a snail.
Are those like the ones that people put in their fish tanks?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I just wonder how they kill people. It's like in different countries, like you go into the water and it like crawls up your orifices and then you die. Like,
Oh, I love things crawling up my orifices.
I don't.
but it's interesting because
Judgment-free zone, Jen.
it's interesting because with sharks, only 10 people die per year from sharks.
So 10 unlucky bastards who do
Okay.
some stupid shit
In the ocean,
in the ocean.
get fucking eaten by sharks.
Only 10.
Wow.
So there's more freshwater snail deaths than shark attacks.
I need Bill Nye, someone step in and explain this.
Or
But
like, what's his name? David Attenborough.
David Attenborough. Yeah.
Steve Irwin?
He's dead.
He did.
I know isn't his son also Steve Irwin?
He's an Irwin.
He's an Irwin.
I don't know what kind of Irwin he is.
I just know his daughter's name is Bindi.
Wow. Bindi Irwin.
Okay.
That's a choice. Well, not for her, but parents.
It's funny that everyone is so afraid of sharks, yet like 10 people a year
Well, I
die.
feel like the movie Jaws, like, kind of, I know for me as a kid, kind of traumatized me a bit.
Oh.
But then, like, yeah, it's like, it's just fucking scary. It was scary.
Jaws. Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. Little Finn.
I definitely had a different perspective of going in the ocean after watching Jaws for the first time.
I agree.
I think that's normal. And another weird thing is that champagne corks are more deadly than sharks because on average 24 people die a year from champagne corks.
I was like 2 years old when I finally learned how to open up a bottle of champagne.
Oh.
Did you do it with
How
that
was it?
samurai sword?
I had to use a YouTube tutorial because I didn't know how. I was down in Florida visiting my friend John, and I was like, let's have mimosas by your pool. Forgetting that, like, you have to open the champagne bottle and let it pop.
Okay.
So we found a YouTube video, and I remember it was like, touch the fat bottom and then squeeze, and you're in the home free. And then I got the champagne all over the walls. So,
Oh, well, shoot. Listen, you were popping bottles. It's
yeah,
fine.
we tried.
But I remember there was this one TikTok video, and it's funny that you mentioned death by champagne cork because it was this TikTok of this girl who was trying to open a bottle, and she ended up fucking, I mean, I want to use the term stabbing herself in the neck, shooting herself in the neck with a goddamn champagne cork. And I was really? Yeah. And I mean, the expression on her face was, I mean...
Was she crying?
It was
I'd be
pain,
crying.
confusion, but I was expecting to see blood. I was very concerned for her, but to my knowledge, she lived.
Okay.
Well, I'm thinking people get killed by the cork thing, either one from choking, because I feel like people would choke on it.
Or people just don't know how to aim the bottle away from them.
Yeah, or two, they have like it pops so hard that it like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they die.
Wow. Intense.
So basically, the theme,
champagne.
don't drink champagne
Nope.
with sharks. But the theme of today's episode, of Bizarre Buffet is the original Jaws,
Da-da,
which
da-da-da-da.
happens to take place in New Jersey.
Which I was fucking dumbstruck
I thought it took
by.
place up in Cape Cod.
That's where Steven Spielberg wanted you to believe it took place. but
Oh, okay. I'm
that's
sorry. Okay, so it was
movie
so-
falsity
Yeah.
is.
Okay. So they filmed it in New Jersey, but it was supposed to be Cape Cod.
Oh, I don't know if they filmed it in New Jersey, but in 1916, a series of shark events happened that kind of inspired the film Jaws.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they filmed in New Jersey, even though it took place up in Cape Cod.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's okay.
Okay.
So that's okay though. So
there actually was some inspiration
Yeah.
in creating Jaws.
Yeah.
movie Jaws that was taking place in Cape Cod was based off of an event that happened.
Directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, Steve. Oh, Steve Spiels.
Well,
We love
Starring, what's his name?
him. Kevin Bacon.
No.
Oh, that guy.
Rob Reiner?
No. Who's the guy from Mr. Holland's
Sally
Opus?
Struthers.
I always
Oh,
get
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard
Richard Dreyfuss,
Dreyfuss.
yeah.
I'm like Rob Reiner.
Oh, Mark's dad
Richard
looks a lot
Dreyfuss.
like Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes.
does.
My dad
And
looks like Richard Dreyfuss.
we're
As
about
Mark
to-
looks at the camera.
We're about to give
He's
a
probably
shout.
watching.
We're about
Probably. Hi.
Hi, Dad. So we have a shout out. Okay, Sonic Boomers is on Apple Podcasts, and you can see Richard Dreyfuss and Maureen Torriello.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check them out.
My parents have a podcast
They do.
called The Sonic Boomers.
I know it's a lot of fun.
So let's talk about the movie Jaws real quick. So in 1975, this was like the world's first summer blockbuster that was like, that basically created like a monster. And as soon as Jaws hit the screens, everyone became afraid of great white sharks. It was like this great white shark fear that swept over the nation. And as a result, a lot of hunters started to kill the sharks. So now we have shark fatalities.
Oh no! All right.
I will tell you that the Jaws ride that's no longer standing at Universal Studios was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life.
I was
shark
on
drama
that
is-
one
is
too,
fun.
and my question the whole time was: is this the shark that was in the film?
No.
No?
But I think they might have had like props or something
probably
from
did.
the Jaws movie.
They probably
Maybe.
did, but
When-
it's fucking.
Wow.
When I was on the Jaws ride, I went to the one in Universal Studios, Florida.
Yeah.
And this was probably like the early 2000s. So this ride was rickety and falling apart. And it was like a styrofoam shark. And they were like, watch out for Mr. Jawsy. He's
Jaws.
hungry today.
But it's so funny if you watch one of those like point of view rides like on YouTube.
Yeah.
The shark looks like I don't even know. Doesn't even look like a shark.
It's like
It's
a
probably
styrofoam
disintegrated
blob.
from
Looks
being
like-
in that fucking water.
It looks
forever.
like a kid's school project.
Yeah.
Like a second grader's school project.
the real ones in California.
Probably.
So after the release of Jaws, this movie inspired this like growing curiosity about sharks that actually positively impacted shark science
Oh.
because everyone was riding the shark wave.
Shark science.
The franchise continued to grow where there are 4 Jaws movies in existence.
There is.
So they get very creative. So there's Jaws, like the original, and then Jaws Part 2, the sequel,
Jaws again.
and then Jaws 3D,
Oh.
which that's I think one of my favorites out of the franchise. And then if you want to get really obscure, there's Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Is that where he's a goddamn psychic?
Yes. He has a psychic connection with this woman, and he somehow wants to, I don't know, get revenge on the sharks that have been killed, or the original Jaws. So the shark somehow locates this woman through a psychic connection.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is.
I've never seen any of the other Jaws except the first one.
I've seen the Teresa Caputo one where he's a psychic, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen
That's
any
the
of
fourth one.
Yeah. I haven't seen the others though.
Before Jaws, there weren't really any like mega like shark attack movies, so this was kind of like new grounds for cinema and for horror. It got to the point where a lot of films started to replicate this formula.
You have
where
Anaconda.
You have Anaconda. You had Orca, the killer whale, which is like
Free Willy.
Wasn't there one? What, Lake Placid?
Lake Placid with that
The alligator.
Yeah. And then there was also other shark movies too, like Deep Blue Sea.
My favorite is
The
Sharknado.
Alzheimer's sharks.
Sharknado.
I love a good Sharknado. We had
We just missed Shark Week. I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
we missed Shark Week, but also we had a tornado warning in New Jersey today.
we did.
We did.
Multiple loud alerts, and so Sharknado is entirely appropriate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome.
And even
They're so bad you can't stop watching them.
I've never seen one. How about that?
I haven't either. I've seen them on Netflix or Hulu or wherever, but
Well, even they say that the movie Alien was basically Jaws in space. So
I love that
how
for
do you like
Alien.
that? Aside from like the film itself, we're gonna kind of do a little bit of a deep dive or a shallow dive into
some shark humor.
I'm feeling sharky. We're gonna talk about the attacks that kind of transpired, this fear of sharks that eventually grew into a full-blown cinematic
Right.
moment.
I love it.
All right, so let's get into it. Put your swim trunks on and your little
Swimmies.
Your little flotation devices.
Okay. So this all took place.
The end.
This all took place in the month of July in 1916 in our very own state of New Jersey. From July 1st to July 12th, there was a few shark attacks happening on the coast where 4 different people were killed. 1 person was injured. And during this shark attack summer, there was a polio
Shark attack.
epidemic.
Oh my God, sharks and polio.
Wow.
Hey.
I think I'd rather
Sharks with
then
polio.
than in a COVID world.
Yeah, really, God.
And also, simultaneously, there was a heat wave.
Oh my
So
God.
you could either melt to death, be eaten, or get polio.
Well, those are all great options.
Or pay high taxes because it is New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was... I guess back then in like the 1916s, taxes weren't that out of control. So
Yeah, I mean, they were probably like 3 cents.
and a postage stamp.
Yeah, exactly.
So, due to this massive heat wave, thousands of people flocked to the seaside towns and resorts of New Jersey, whilst being on the eve of World War One.
Whilst, I love
Whilst.
that. On the eve of World War
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I felt like talking in 1916 vocabulary in that sentence.
I like it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I approve.
Whilst.
Whilst.
Jen Wilston.
That's how
Anna
you.
Wilson, that's me.
That's how you would say it in 1916.
Of course.
And with this increase in people going down the shore, there was a lot of tourism going on. So there was a lot of money to be made on the shore towns. And it was just like the perfect combination of everything that started to transpire this entire shark frenzy in 1916. So the first attack took place on July 1st. In the town of Beach Haven, New Jersey. Unfortunately, the victim, his name was Charles Van Sant, and he was on vacation with his family. Upon going into the water, this 25-year-old man was attacked by a shark after just a few minutes of entering the water. So I guess the shark wasn't really hungry.
Wow. He was starving.
He was starving. So when this gentleman, Charles, went into the water, the shark started to nibble on him. Onlookers heard him screaming. At first, they thought he was playing with his dog because of all the splashing and stuff. Like, no one really knew about sharks back then. So people thought that, he was splashing around playing with the dog, but it turns out it was a shark. And ooh, I know, shark attack. And because people back then didn't really know about sharks. Yeah. So they wouldn't think shark attack in the water. Ah!
Right.
They were like, oh, he's playing with a dog in a hoop skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jaws wasn't out yet.
Jaws was not out. But the lifeguards were, and
Oh, thank God.
they went to his rescue. And when they went to him in the water, they noticed that his belly was completely bitten off. So,
Oh, comforting.
yeah, he had no belly after that.
He alive?
No, he eventually died, but he was alive for a few minutes. And he was only like 50 feet out, which isn't too far out there. So once they took him out, he like died, shortly after, and after that incident, after his death, there were no safety precautions for the public that were made from any of the beaches. It wasn't really taken that seriously. And most likely it's because it was peak season for tourism and they didn't want to jeopardize the tourist-based businesses. So it's kind of like with COVID and wanting to keep everything open, like people really didn't care if lives were being risked.
Yeah.
Because they just wanted to make business. And in the movie Jaws, that is a thing that
That's something that happens in the movie. They were like, oh, don't worry about it.
Our seaweed.
Oh, there's only a little seaweed out there, some jelly stingerfish.
So, yeah, even though, around the time there were reports from sea captains spotting sharks off the coast of Newark and New York, nothing was done. And often these shark sightings were quickly written off as hallucinations due to the heat wave.
Oh, you're crazy. The heat's making you insane.
I feel flush.
Oh, you got a bit of that overheats, madam.
My goodness.
Oh.
People were really stupid back then.
Yeah, they're almost as stupid today.
I think they're probably just as stupid today.
Yeah, different ways.
But
In
now they
much
have
different
phones.
ways, yeah.
More elaborate ways now.
So that attack was on July 1st. So we're going to go forward a few days, and now we're going to talk about the July 6th attack. It's like this shark is doing like a tour,
Yeah. He's like Madonna.
Jaws, the world tour.
Yeah.
So on July 6th, about 45 miles north in the town of Spring Lake, never been there, a 27-year-old man by the name of Charles Bruder was fatally bitten in the abdomen and legs while swimming in the ocean. Lifeguards carried him to shore where he eventually bled to death. Now, this shark attack made more news headlines than the first one.
Okay.
So this made news stories all over the country. And since sharks, again, were not widely known at the time and not seen as a threat or deadly, other sea creatures kind of got blamed for this guy's death. So things such as sea turtles were being blamed, whales, seals, dolphins, I think even a starfish got handcuffed.
Oh my God. Not the
No way.
starfish. And I know Jenna, who's a listener, would have a big issue with the goddamn sea turtles because
Oh, she loves, yes,
Oh,
she
Jenna.
loves
sea
turtles.
I know
They're so
Jenna.
cute.
I know.
She's a sea turtle advocate. Thank
Yeah.
you for your service.
So now this secondary shark attack really kind of began to negatively impact tourism culture in this, this sea ocean area of New Jersey. And once it started to impact tourism and money, that's when the Museum of Natural History got involved. And they end up holding this like press conference to tell people, don't be afraid of sharks. And
They won't bite.
yeah, and they were saying like, oh, these attacks were super rare, they're very unusual. But 4 days after this museum press release situation, 2 more people got killed by sharks.
Ow.
No way.
That's just a coincidence.
say.
Ow.
Yes, and the July 12th attack is far more dark and bizarre and dramatic than the
Is there
other
more
ones.
blood and like
Wow.
bits and
Yeah,
pieces.
there's blood and gore and sea turtles and a boat.
You can do it too, sis.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yes.
Anyway.
To be like this like tall tale when I was a kid, don't pee in the ocean because you'll attract the sharks.
Oh,
I wish I heard that as a kid. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. How?
Peeing, apparently, I don't remember who told me, but peeing in the ocean would attract the sharks.
Anyone listening, let us know if this is real.
Yeah.
Who has like a
But if you get stung by a jellyfish, you should pee on the
Yes, you
spot.
should.
Because I think, what is it? Is there ammonia in pee-pee?
I don't know.
Pee-pee?
But wouldn't it be funny if some, like, I don't know, little cute pervert was like, just pee on it. He's like, pee on everything, you know? I think that's cute. I don't know. It's charming.
It is. Well, you were doing that at the beach when we went.
Oh, listen, don't worry about it.
So let's talk about the pea shark.
Yay,
So-
pea shark. Jaws, pea shark.
So on July 12th, shark took 2 more victims in New Jersey. This is a little more dark and unusual because it didn't take place in the ocean. It took place in a creek.
On a rock
Which is-
in a creek.
Very weird.
That is.
And
Well,
this-
because sharks don't tend to come inland, like, as, like, I don't know.
No, what you're saying makes sense. I don't think they do.
They're not supposed to, at least.
I know. What's wrong with this one?
they should read the signs. Sharks don't come inland.
Exactly. Learn how to read sharks. God damn it.
Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, so this shark crept up into the creek, and it was about a mile and a half away from the ocean. As we discussed, sharks are never found in creeks and are really not known to travel outside of the ocean. So, from the attacks prior, the shark continued to travel north, now from Beach Haven to Spring Lake, and somehow managed to go around the hook of Sandy Hook
Oh.
and into the Raritan Bay
What?
before going into the Matawan Creek.
What?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So-
That's crazy.
Of course, I Google satellited the whole like shark trajectory.
Mark was
and
going to go today.
I was gonna go today, but it started raining because I wanted to see the spot where the shark ate the little kitties. But yeah, children are eaten.
Yes.
But
wow.
this Matawan Creek, it is tiny.
It
is
is.
very small, and you're like, a shark could fit there. Now this was 1916, before like, I don't know, the global warming and shit. So it was deeper, it was wider.
Yeah.
So the day of the shark attack, Captain Thomas Cottrell said that he saw a shark swimming below a trolley bridge in the town of Keyport, which my parents live near Keyport.
Oh, Keyport is like, yeah.
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 Right by Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
So he called the town marshal to report the shark sighting, but he was immediately dismissed because the town marshal was like, sharks don't swim up freshwater creeks.
It's like, oh, you see, sharks don't come up this way because this is uncommon for a shark to do. You see?
Oh, I got my pants pulled up to my nipples.
Oh, keeps my nipples warm in the winter.
So after that like silly response, you know, Captain Cottrell hopped into his small motorboat to kind of find the shark.
He's like,
and-
girl, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Is this where the line "We need a bigger boat" was inspired from?
I would imagine so.
fucking sounds
'Cause
like
it's a
it.
small motor. I mean, they had motors back then. I thought horses were motors.
I mean, really, horsepower.
No, because
Not
World
in the
War
water.
One, World War One was just around the corner, and they had airplanes and shit. So I would assume.
Yeah, that's true.
This captain jumps in his little motorboat and starts like going down the creeks or the rivers or whatever, and he's telling people like, get the fuck out of the water, there's a shark. And they're like, what's a shark? Oh my God, why did it sink the Titanic? And yeah, basically like it was like the boy that cried shark because no one really like believed
Right.
him. Put it into perspective too, at the time the water in that creek went about 15 to 20 feet deep, so I guess that's deep enough for a sharky to do his thing.
Listen, it's deep enough for me to drown, and because I'm short.
Well, as Thomas made his way up the creek, so did the shark. And in the path of the shark, there were 5 young boys who were swimming in the creek. The names of these 5 boys were Albert O'Hara, Johnson Catran, Frank Close, Charles Van Brunt,
Charles Van Brunt.
Van Brunt.
Lester Stillwell, and
Lester Stillwell.
and Anthony Bublin
Anthony Bublin.
or Bublin.
Bublin.
And out of the 5,
Bublé.
Michael Bublé. So out of these 5 boys, Lester Stillwell was the one that was swimming the farthest out from land. So now he is kind of in like the danger zone. He ended up putting himself in the direct path of the shark. So when this 300-pound shark arrived, Lester was pulled under in seconds, not even giving the boys enough time to really like comprehend and respond to like what was happening. They just saw him get sucked under and screaming, and they ran out like screaming.
Right.
And they ran into town screaming for help, saying that, you know, something bit him and dragged him under the water, and no one believed them.
Oh, wow.
Like, grown-ups back then sucked.
Yeah.
Murderers.
Like, they didn't believe anything. No one believed anything back then. But also, people today think COVID doesn't exist.
Well, they're
No.
today's
That the world is
equivalent
flat.
Well, of
of Trump
course.
people, so...
So I guess we're no different than shark times.
Yeah.
And now's the time for all you Trumpers to suck it.
Yeah. So, fortunately, well, actually, no. Unfortunately, 24-year-old Taylor Stanley Fisher witnessed these boys running and crying for help. And he happened to know the young boy Lester. And
Lester Stillwell.
Lester.
so, yeah, Lester. And while Lester was, I guess, being eaten by the shark, Stanley Fisher ran to the creek to rescue him. But Stanley, since he knew the boy, thought that the child was having an epileptic seizure because he
had a history of
he
that?
had a history of that.
Oh, fuck.
So this gentleman was like, it's probably not a shark. He's probably having like a seizure. We have to rescue him. So he went to the rescue. He went into the water, but it was already too late because by the time he got to the water, it was just a pool of blood. And
Like the movie.
like the movie. And by this point, there was no sighting of the shark. So townspeople immediately followed. They came on boats and they used these like rods to try to like
Right.
get the kid or whatever was going on. Not being able to find the child, Stanley eventually just jumped into the blood water and swam. Very refreshing.
Yeah.
But
It's
he,
good for the skin, I hear.
yeah. Well, if you're a vampire too, I would imagine it's quite delightful.
They have a vampire facial.
They do.
They do.
It's actually a thing,
Oh.
but
They inject
Yeah.
you with your own blood plasma.
into your face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want it to get, I can't say the kind of tightening on here. But
Well, so Stanley dives into the blood water and swims about 15 feet to the bottom, and he collects the body of 12-year-old Lester.
Excuse me?
He found the body of the 12-year-old boy Lester.
Stillwell.
Lester Stillwell's arms.
Yeah.
And giblets.
Legs.
So
Oh, R.I.P. Stillwell.
So while he swims back up to the surface with the body or parts or God knows what of this like poor 12-year-old Lester, the shark comes back.
And he's like, hey, girl.
Yeah, the shark's like, miss me, bitch.
Just
Well,
kidding.
I bet you that was inspo for in the first Jaws, the little boy who gets
Yeah.
eaten, and isn't it like his like bathing suit or something that he had,
It was like a,
or a floating device?
yeah,
like,
a surfboard thing.
yes,
a,
yes,
a
yes,
paddle
yes.
board. And the
Boogie
mom is
board.
like,
like screaming at the
boogie
edge of the
board.
water.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And, yeah.
so basically, you know, he swims up to the surface with giblets.
Giblets. All the giblets.
I know. I bet you like a bunch of locals are gonna send us hate mail for this. But
Send it.
send it.
Fucking
We
send
love,
it.
we love hate
We
mail.
want it. We will have a listen. Give us a reason to
Listen,
not
we've
like
already
you.
had a hater on one of her podcasts.
We
Actually, in the description, say that she interviewed the same person and she did it better. So
Yeah, and we're not going to give you that credit.
Yeah.
But mind you, we keep track because this is a full run-in production,
Yeah.
and we know who you are.
Yep, we
You're
know
not-
exactly who you are, and you're on our watch.
Yeah.
You're on our watch
But we
list.
will not give you a listen.
No,
Never,
or a name
or a
shout out.
subscription.
That's
I
right.
refuse to say your name.
Make
I interviewed him, and then Bizarre Buffet did too, but I did it better.
fucking.
Shut the fuck up.
They didn't do it better.
No.
No,
They
I
didn't.
turned it off within
I'm
like
not
3
being an
minutes.
ass. I'm just saying facts.
and-
All right, so after Stanley and Lester were eaten by the shark, about an hour later, the shark kind of like was continuing its world tour. And the shark kind of turned around and was going back toward the ocean. That being said, he swam further up toward Keyport Bay. And in the bay, there were 3 boys that were in the water. And it was a 12-year-old named Joseph Dunn and his 14-year-old brother, Michael Dunn, and 16-year-old Jeremiah Houlihan. And Houlihan.
Like the restaurant.
And while these boys were swimming in this bay, someone was like, "Get the fuck out of the water! There's sharks!" or something. And the kids were like, "Ah!" Fortunately, it was already too late. And as the boys were swimming toward the shore or the land, they crossed paths with Sharky McGee.
Oh, Shark McGee.
Yeah, Sharks
Irish.
McGee. It was just too late, and the shark had bitten one of the boys' leg and tried to pull him into the water. And luckily, a gentleman in a boat jumped into the water, rescued
Oh, you
him.
see, you're gonna be missing one leg, but you'll be alive. See?
And the young boy ended up surviving the attack. And
Oh, okay.
God bless.
he's the
America.
America.
American Sharks.
Oh, American
The
sharks.
great
America,
white.
shark, do, 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 America.
So, yeah, he's the only survivor of this like shark frenzy. So, from all of these attacks came this like
Right.
crazy aftermath frenzy.
Question though,
Mm-hmm.
as Jen, I'm gonna quote Jen Wilson. Is he fully amputated?
We love an amputation on
We
Bizarre
live
Buffet.
for an amputee moment.
I don't think he was. I think a lot of skin was like fucked up, but I don't think he was amputated because
Yeah.
I think there was like a diagram of his injury in a newspaper.
So he wasn't
okay.
fully amputated.
No, I don't
it.
think he was
Alright.
amputated at all.
That's gonna be
So-
on a T-shirt one day.
He could ride roller
Hashtag
coasters.
fully amputated.
Yeah.
So, after all of these like shark attacks, there was a huge like frenzy of an aftermath that transpired where people were trying to hunt and kill the shark that had eaten everyone.
Oh no.
And
All the
you know,
giblets.
yeah, and there was even like a shark hunt where if you could find the shark and kill it that ate these children and people, you would have reward money
Like in the movie.
like in the movie. But it's interesting because it's like you don't know if it was one shark, 2 sharks, or a like you don't know if it was all
It's
from the same shark.
Like when someone gets murdered, they're like, we think it might have been 3 assailants. It could have been 1.
yeah.
Right.
Right?
So, days after, newspapers reported that a great white shark was caught in the Raritan Bay. So, they found a great white shark, in this area. Hunted, killed it, and upon catching the shark, they also found 15 pounds of human flesh inside of its belly, and also human bone. Wow. Yeah. And there's pictures of it, and the shark's like...
Shark giblets.
However, even though, yes, it was human remains inside of the shark belly, they could not identify who they belonged to. It was also determined that the bones inside of this animal could have come from a human that died longer, like that died farther away in the past.
Oh, okay.
So it was basically like impossible to really determine that the remains were from these specific attacks. Now, there is some controversy, and some people do speculate that the man that hunted and killed the shark had put human remains inside of the belly so he could win the reward money. And fun little fact, the shark that was hunted and killed, he was put on display in a shop in New York.
Is he still there?
I don't know.
We'll go find out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
We'll take the
A
shark.
road trip and then also go to MoMA since we've never been.
You know what's so funny is that Jenna, speaking of Jenna earlier, just was like, I can't believe you haven't been to the MoMA.
I haven't either.
I love the MoMA. So no one really knows for sure if that was the guilty shark or not. And
if those were his giblets.
And it's also, it should be noted that, you know, instead of a great white shark, it could have been a bull shark, because bull sharks are more likely to swim into rivers and creeks. And apparently great white sharks kind of they stick to the salty ocean waters.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, they have class.
Yeah. And if you want to visit the graves of Lester and Stanley, you can go to Rose Hill Cemetery in Matawan.
Okay.
Matawan.
And
Matawan.
New Jersey.
Matawan, New
And
Jersey.
today, this is really cool, and this is something I would like to check out. But in the creek where Stanley and Lester had been bitten, there is now a mural that is of a shark, and it's kind of like graffiti style. So it's painted on an old train bridge where you can enter the mouth of the shark through like a small boat. And the mouth kind of frames the edge of the arched tunnel. So it's like you're going into the mouth and the throat of the shark. Hot. And it's been recently featured on the cover of the new Weird New Jersey issue. And you could also visit this graffiti art piece at the creek in Matawan, where these deaths took place.
Oh, wow.
Well.
Isn't that wild?
Very
That
wild.
is.
Wild sea animals.
I like it.
So what did you guys think of
I thought
the
that was
shark
great.
attacks?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
did
Interesting.
not-
I didn't
scared?
know that it was based off of events that happened in New Jersey.
I
Yeah.
know. Like, what an iconic film. And,
Yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm. I mean, Steven Spielberg's a fucking genius.
he is, absolutely. Old Stevie Spiels, you know, he's been involved in shit you wouldn't imagine.
I mean, some
Like-
of the greatest films of all time.
I know. I mean, and
E.T. will always be one of my favorites.
oh, little Drew Barrymore, that young coke addicted child. R.I.P. to that child.
I heard that her and E.T. were doing coke lines behind the UFO.
Actually,
I
fun
heard.
fact that when she was a kid on the set, when they would all go for lunch, she would sit with the puppet and eat lunch with it.
Oh, I
That's so
love
While like
that.
everyone else like went somewhere else to eat, like she would have her lunch and like be quiet and like sit with E.T.
Oh, that's so cute.
Like she like felt like she had a connection to it. And those tears at the end, like when she says goodbye to him, those
Oh.
were real fucking tears because she didn't want the filming to finish.
Oh God!
my
Now I feel like an asshole for
God.
making these little girl cocaine jokes.
Oh, well, she was a young little
You know,
girl
she
coke
also
addict.
gave Princess Diana at the
Syphilis?
A line of coke.
film. No, an ET doll at the premiere in London.
That's so cute.
Okay, now how valuable do you think the E.T. doll that Drew Barrymore gave Princess Diana, young Drew Barrymore, coke addicted child, Princess Di, dead royalty, how famous is that E.T. doll and how much do you think it would be
Yeah.
worth? Spit out a number. In pounds.
$120,000.
In pounds, that would be what, 75,000 pounds?
I
Something
would
like
probably say over 100,000 pounds.
that? Okay, so that's like a lot.
Yeah.
All right. comment down below. Let us know what you think that the E.T. doll from Coke Drew Barrymore child actress to dead Princess Diana of Wales would be.
And
Let
don't
us know.
forget to follow us on Instagram at Bizarre Buffet.
Please do. Follow us. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your stepmother that you hate and your grandfather who you wish would die already. Tell us everything.
Follow us on Facebook at Bizarre Buffet.
That's right. And if you're in the giving spirit and you want to, I don't know, donate a little bit of your hard-earned, whether it's pounds, shillings, euro, whatever the fuck.
Your money.
Yeah, your money. Find us on Patreon. Or, just, do whatever the fuck you want. Anyway.
And with that being said, I'm Richard Dreyfuss.
And my name, is Tammy Mae Baker. Tammy Faye Baker.
I'm Free Willy.
All right.
Bye.
That's fine.
Bye, everyone.
Good.